For Devasia Haggard, if somebody's trying to get to know him, what's the first thing you're going to tell them?
Wow. Of all the questions I could have predicted to lead off with, I have absolutely no idea. What's your favorite food? I have no idea.
He's a guy he's new to the game. How's he progressed and how's that learning curve? Because
he's working hard. He's doing okay. He's a guy that's kind of battling with a bunch of more seasoned guys at that position, but he's working hard and gives great effort.
It's one of those things where he intrigues you though, because he has some things that you can't teach, just the size and athleticism. For obviously he needs to learn like the physical aspects of the game. But does he intrigue you?
Everybody intrigues me. Yeah, that's kind of what we try to do. Is, not put anybody in a box, or just have a preconceived notion, good or bad, about anybody. And yeah, he's a guy that just he's got a long way to go.
But the defense won't get screwed either way.
Depends on who you ask.
Defense got robbed last year.
Well, that's a long story. But no, that was a blowout last year for sure.
Coach, a lot of eyes on the receivers right now, especially Keenan. What do you want to see out of him as far as development to be that go-to guy?
To be himself. That guy has been awesome all spring as a leader, as a playmaker, as a just a pace setter in terms of how he practices. He's another guy along the lines of Marcus, just with a great attitude and making a ton of plays. He's always been a guy that's worked hard and has really grown into a lot more of a playmaking type role. And I use an example from the scrimmage of him going 100 miles an hour with great technique, made a play on the ball, made a great play in the air, and then there was a true freshman on the other side that wasn't. And that's just kind of where the other guy is in his development. But yeah, just to love that guy and everything he's about.
Thomas Tyner seemed to have a tendency to run a little high last year. Has that been something you guys have stressed to him in the spring?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of his. It's a natural thing sometimes for backs, and he's a little bit of a, whatever Eric Dickerson type mold guy, of a little bit of a high runner, and usually guys learn that lesson the hard way. But Thomas is another guy who's working his tail off, really kind of just growing up, and really happy with his development as well.
What's your favorite thing about Kenny Bassett?
My favorite thing about Kenny Bassett just made a great fourth down conversion diving catch. So that's currently my favorite thing. Kenny's another guy, just shows up with a great attitude and goes to work. He's been around some great backs, and I think he and Ayele would play a lot of minutes for a lot of teams, and they've been stuck behind some really, really good players. And he shows up every day, great attitude, works his tail off, plays on special teams, fills in when needed, and always does a great job.
How hard is that to persevere through injuries and never playing for 5 games?
It's not normal, but that's definitely not. We don't want to be normal either, and I think he's definitely a guy that fits that deal. Again, he shows up with a great attitude, whether he's like you said, had some adversity and bounced back great.
Keeping it on Kenny Bassett, do you think a guy like that amps up? The spring game is kind of these guys' time to shine. They might not see the field all the time. Talk about their mindset as the spring game gets closer.
Definitely, the guy that's always kind of the picked player of the game is always the third team tailback, because that guy's going to get a ton of reps against hopefully some holes developing as far as scrimmages and spring game types of situations go. And those guys, or guys that are obviously guys battling for positions, but guys that know that the carries or the catches, or something's going to go to somebody else when fall comes. Maybe they're excited for this time, a little wind. Then also, I think they know that we've put some of those guys on scholarship too. Some of those guys have earned their way to being a scholarship player, whether it's through offense or defense or special teams.
You said last week there were a couple of core concepts that hadn't quite been installed. You were hoping those could get in. Are you about where you want to be in terms of getting everything in before spring?
Definitely, yeah. We've gotten those in at this point, and now it's there's a ton of just situational stuff that we work through, as well as getting guys just a little bit more fluent in the system. both from just a recognizing a signal for the second, third, fourth time. Doing something against multiple looks on both sides of the ball is a big deal, and then just kind of trying to develop confidence.
Darren Carrington said that he feels his strength is his hands. He hasn't been able to use both of them as much in practice this spring. Would you assess that as that being his biggest strength?
I really don't know what his biggest strength is, yet. I think everything again that we've asked him to do, he's done well. He's been tough. He's learned well. He's got really good top end speed. He's a guy that hasn't certainly been able to cut it loose yet from just a full package confidence standpoint. And he's another guy, a young guy that some of these young guys, and not to pick on him in any way, but if their left elbow is hurt, they can do a lot of other stuff. Certainly in the weight room or on the practice field and in the film room. And we always tell guys, when you're injured or when you're dinged up or when you're limited, you have to do more. You can't do less. You have to take advantage of it off the field, whether it's iPad work or film work or all the other things that we have available for those guys is to make up ground on not getting as many live reps.
Again, this may have been asked, but I think Steve asked Don this earlier about the new rule, hitting beneath the knees. Mm-hmm. Don said you addressed that to the team. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something he necessarily had to tell the defenders about. What do you tell your guys about that new rule?
We always address the rules. The new rules. This year, there's not very many. That's really the only new thing, and then the additional change to the targeting rule. If it's rescinded, there's no penalty, which makes sense. And then I think the Brady rule or whatever it's called in the NFL. That's it. It's probably a common sense kind of a thing. I don't think that happens very often. I think they're trying to remove a dirty play, which that's a good thing.